ResMed automatic CPAP machines have two response modes. We have the standard response and the soft response. Now, the fast, frequent pressure changes of the standard response can sometimes disturb a patient's sleep. So ResMed developed the soft response, which provides gentler pressure changes over time. Now, this sounds great in theory, but there's some major problems, and I'll show you those now. Let's take a look at the standard response in action and compare that against the soft response. And if you'd like to see how your CPAP machine is performing, check out sleephq.com, sign up for a free account, and then you can see which response mode gives you the best results. Okay, so here we are on SleepHQ. This is the dashboard. Let's just quickly take a look at the machine settings here. I'm going to click more. This pulls up the full machine settings. And if we come down here, we can see response set to standard. And let's have a look at that in action. So this top chart here, pressure, is the pressure delivery of the CPAP machine changing over time. You can see we have time along the x-axis here, 140 to 148, and then up the y-axis we have the pressure levels, 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. And if I hover my cursor over the green line, you can see the pressure changing, 13.54, 13.86, 14.66. The pressure is increasing, and it's increasing in response to this apnea here. So let's have a look at the standard response. You can see here on the flow rate, breathing is pretty stable. But all of a sudden, you can clearly see there's a change in the pattern, isn't there? Let's have a zoom in a bit closer. So breathing in, breathing out, and all of a sudden, see how the breathing's got very narrow, very restricted? He's having some problems getting air, and then all of a sudden, there's some great big breaths here. And then once again, the pattern repeats itself. Very shallow breathing. And take a look at what happens to the blood oxygen levels. This is textbook obstructive sleep apnea right here. And these yellow bars here are what we call apnea flags. OA, obstructive apnea. And the machine has marked these events. It did miss one here, and it's missed one here. That's just what happens. But have a look at the blood oxygen levels. He starts struggling for breath, and look, it's sitting up here at 97. Oxygen levels are coming down. Look, down to 93. He takes some deep breaths. Oxygen jumps back up again. Pattern repeats. A lot of pressure on the heart. Boom, 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 boom. Causes disturbed sleep. Your brain wakes up out of sleep to tell you to breathe. And then have a look at the pressure. It's pretty flat line here while breathing is normal. That's what we want. If breathing's stable, we don't need to increase the pressure. And then once the breathing starts to get narrow, look at it start to tick up. Here it starts to go up here. See, 14.66, 15.26, 17.86, and then boom, it hits 20, which is as far as a CPAP machine can go. But look what happens once it hits that level. You can see all of a sudden breathing starts to normalize again. Now, the big problem with the standard response mode, and I showed this in a video not too long ago, if you'd like to watch that video, click the link above, is that it often delivers way too much pressure. You can see in this example, it shoots right up to 20, but by its own admission, it got it wrong because you can see what happens soon after. The pressure starts to drop, and breathing is still normal. So did it need to go up to 20 in the first place? Probably not. Now, let's head over to the soft response mode and check that out. All right, so Tuesday, March 21st, and this is Chris Peters' data, member on the SleepHQ Pro-Community-Forum. G'day, Chris. So on this night, apnea-hypopnea index 12.17, too high. Okay, so let's zoom in and check out what's going on, because it's not good. So to start, let's take a look at the breathing, the airflow rate. And we can see right now that it doesn't look great. We have all these purple flags here, the hypopnea flags. It's not stable, is it? There's all these little periods here of narrow breathing, followed by these great big breaths. The breathing's all over the place. It's very clear to see. But what I showed you before with the standard response was the pressure gradually increasing, yeah? It does so to create a big pressure differential, high pressure inside the mask, low pressure here. The higher that differential, the more air is going to force down the gradient into your lungs. But have a look what's happening with the pressure here on the soft response. It's doing the opposite, guys. Look at it. Starts up here at 14.26 and the pressure is getting lower. Hey? Look at it. It's a big slow decline. Now it's down here at 11.7. Now, why is it doing this? I have absolutely no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me. Look at it. It goes down, 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 down here at 11.38. Finally, there's some OA, obstructive apnea flags, and the pressure starts to do what it's supposed to do and increase. Now, if we look a little bit closer, and I'm just clicking and dragging here over a section of interest, we can see there was this one little period here where the pressure did increase. Now, why did it do that? All these other periods it didn't. I think it's got to do with the airflow limitation down here. You see this big block here? It must have a bit of a threshold. Maybe the threshold is 0.3. And if you have a hypopnea coupled with airflow limitation, then you get a move up in the pressure trace. Let's go to another night. Tuesday, March 14th, 10.06. It's the same thing again. Have a look at this. Pressure, just great big drop in pressure, and breathing just looks horrible. What I'm also noticing here is there's so many flags missed, and I've talked about this before, but flag missed here, 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 flag missed here. So although the AHI is 10, doesn't sound too bad, it's probably more like 20 or 25 if all these flags were correctly marked, which they're not. So it's crystal clear that the soft response just doesn't provide enough pressure for the hypopneas especially. It's going down when it really needs to be moving up. It's looking more like the Phillips algorithm, which is not a good thing. So I would recommend that you stick with the standard response mode. Yes, it's aggressive. Yes, it will deliver too much pressure. However, it's quite easy to drop your pressure max level, this level here, down to stop the machine going too high with its pressure delivery and maintain quality results. I think it's much better than getting these great big pressure declines when breathing looks like this. That's unacceptable right there, guys. So what changes can we make to Chris's settings to improve his therapy? AHI is currently 10, realistically more like 20 if we add up the missed therapy flags. We want it as low as possible. Well, step one, we're going to change that response from soft to standard. Step two, we need to tighten up the pressure range. Currently pressure min of 6, pressure max of 20, that's a pressure range of 14 centimeters. It's too large. You can't let ResMed have that much flexibility with the pressure, especially in standard response mode. So we need to tighten up that range, but where do we set the levels? We can take a look at his breathing. That's a great place to start, and have a look where his pressure needs to be. Let's do so. All right, so I've just zoomed in here. So we can see here with the hypopneas, he's up at 13 here and he's still having hypopneas. See, it reaches 13 and he's still got the hypopnea flag. So realistically, he does need over 13 centimeters to control those hypopneas. Let's come to this section at the end here because this is when breathing stabilizes. Hypopnea, hypopnea, hypopnea. Big pressure jump here in response to the airflow limitation up at 0.79. And then it bumps up a little bit more again, and it's definitely controlling the hypopneas now. There's a lot of airflow limitation. Don't worry about that too much just at this stage. This is just a guide to where to set the pressure min. Now remember, we are changing to the standard response mode, which will be more aggressive. It will move faster. So we probably don't need to be right up there at 13 to begin with, because if we zoom out, there are periods of the night here where he doesn't need 13, you know. Down here, he's at 7 for some of the night. So personally, I'm thinking we set the pressure min at 10, and then when those periods happen with the hypopneas, the standard response will move quickly to treat those hypopneas, and then we just need to stop it going too high, because that's what it does. It goes too high. So with the pressure max, let's have a look up here. What is he? He's up here at 16.76, and he's still got a lot of airflow limitation. I know I said don't worry about that, but I'm thinking to start, we set his pressure max somewhere at that 18 level. Now, I also want to briefly touch on another setting. It masquerades as a comfort setting, and it is a comfort setting, but it also can have a massive impact on your AHI, and that's EPR, expiratory pressure relief. This setting drops the therapy pressure as you exhale, making it easier to breathe, making it easier to exhale. Now, Chris currently has his setting on 3. EPR set to 3 full time. So EPR is running full time, and every breath he takes, as he breathes out, the therapy is reduced by 3 centimeters. But what you might not know is, in order to achieve breathing normalization, the ResMed has to deliver 3 centimeters more. For example, let's just say Chris needs 10 centimeters. That's what's required for good, stable, normal breathing when EPR is off. If he switches EPR onto level 3, he now needs to set his CPAP up to 13. He needs to increase it by the same level to get the same therapeutic results. It's a little bit confusing, I know, but it's important, because sometimes instead of increasing your pressure levels, what you can do is reduce your EPR levels and achieve the same outcome. Just something to be mindful of. Like I said, I'll do a full video on this in the near future. I've got some excellent studies that I want to show you. Thanks for watching, everyone. The take-home message from today's video is the response rate does make a big difference to your results. So be very careful which one you choose. In my opinion, the soft, she's a little too soft, and the pressure is not adequate. So you're much better off choosing the standard response. Tighten up that pressure range as much as you can, and be mindful of your EPR. Until next time, sleep well, look after your mates, and I'll see you soon. Bye.